Listen closely. I'm about to say something almost nobody dares to admit, but it's true, and it's happening right now. Look around. There's a strange new reality forming. There are men out there, smart, disciplined, successful, well-spoken, living their lives completely alone. Not for a few months, not during a breakup, but for years. And I'm not talking about guys who gave up on themselves. I mean the ones who worked hard, built their careers, kept their bodies in shape, cleaned up their habits, and still choose to stay solo. Not because nobody wants them, but because they refuse to play a game that feels rigged from the start. Call it overthinking, call it independence, call it whatever helps you sleep at night. But let's get real. Look around. How often do you actually see a young couple who isn't pretending? Not the ones broadcasting their perfect love on Instagram, not the ones staging smiles for likes. I'm talking about real warmth, real teamwork, real calm. Two people who make each other better instead of draining each other. Hard to think of even one, right? That's the point. Genuine connection has become something you barely ever witness in real life. Right now, for many men, choosing to stay on their own has become the safest, most rational choice. Not because being alone is glamorous or exciting, it rarely is, but because it doesn't come with the chaos that most relationships seem to carry these days. It's like choosing a steady, reliable job over a company that shuts down departments every few months, or investing in something that grows slowly but predictably instead of gambling everything on a scheme that fails more often than it succeeds. You're not avoiding love or running from commitment. You're avoiding instability, disappointment, and the endless emotional roller coaster that comes with putting your heart where the odds are stacked against you. And the truth is, most men have done the math, looked around, and realized that the risk isn't worth the potential reward, at least not yet. Imagine buying a property in a neighborhood that everyone says is unreliable. You put in all your money, your patience, and years of your life. Every repair, every decision feels like it could make or break the whole investment. And even if it appreciates, the headaches might outweigh the gains. That's what modern relationships feel like. An investment where men put in everything they have, but the stress, compromise, and emotional toll make them question if it's ever worth it. And yet, people still wonder why so many men choose quiet nights over drama, why they focus on their work, their hobbies, their health, or just peace, instead of jumping into relationships that often bring more stress than happiness. The answer is simple. The system is broken. Men don't avoid love because they don't want it. They avoid a game that's stacked against them from the start. Ever notice how dating today feels like trying to pass a test that nobody gave you the answers for? You show up, and suddenly, there's a checklist. Must be successful, fit, ambitious, funny, emotionally available, financially stable. Miss one tiny box, and you're dismissed before you even get a chance. It's not a joke. This is the new normal. Being a decent human being, loyal, hardworking, thoughtful, reliable, is considered just the basics, the bare minimum. You could spend hours planning a date, remember every detail about someone's life, be there when they're upset, work on yourself constantly, and still hear, yeah, but that's just what you're supposed to do. Think about that. When did caring, showing up, and being consistent stop being admirable and start being expected? When did being responsible stop being a strength and start being just another line on a checklist? We live in a time where men have to earn respect for the things that used to be considered virtues, where loyalty and effort are measured like a transaction, and kindness is treated as optional. Society has shifted the rules. Men aren't seen as partners or supporters anymore. They're measured like service providers, constantly tested and rarely appreciated. Today, men are treated like employees under constant review. He's expected to text first, plan every date, remember everyone's birthdays, help with groceries, fix things around the house, and still look good doing it. Meanwhile, culture frames women as the ultimate prize, untouchable, priceless, and untiringly demanding. And the less they contribute, the more they expect men to give. Dating today is like launching a startup with zero guidance. You're expected to have perfect branding, looks, career, humor, social status, fitness, emotional intelligence, everything polished and ready to impress. One mistake, one missing skill, and investors walk away. Meanwhile, most clients aren't even ready to invest in themselves. She wants a man with a house, but rents with roommates. She wants adventure, but never leaves her city. She wants maturity, but loses her cool at minor criticism. Relationships used to be a team effort. Now, they feel like a 24/7 customer service job. A man has to constantly prove he's worth the attention, the patience, the approval, and the bar keeps moving. Do everything right, and you might get a thanks, maybe a text back. Mess up once, and it's complaints, guilt trips, or silent treatment. At worst, it's emotional warfare, manipulation, or even legal battles that drain you completely. We've reached a point where staying single is often the smarter choice. It's not cynicism, it's survival instinct. Look at the reality: divorce rates skyrocketing, alimony, broken homes, depression, men burning out. People see what happens to others and make a rational decision. When the risk of losing your money, your peace, and your freedom outweighs any chance of happiness, love isn't romance anymore. It's a rigged lottery. Look around. Men aren't running from women. They're running from chaos, disguised as connection. They show up. They invest time, energy, attention, and all they get in return is inconsistency, drama, and endless demands. It's not about weakness. It's about survival. That's why so many men disappear into their routines, their hobbies, their side projects, or their passions. At least there, effort has a return. You build a skill, you see progress. You level up in a game, you win rewards. You work hard, you get results. Life outside that loop, unpredictable. You give your all and still lose points for the tiniest slip. The real problem isn't about being criticized or not doing enough. It's about a system where effort no longer guarantees respect. Men aren't partners anymore. They're expected to be flawless performers in a never-ending reality show. And the irony? The audience has no accountability. They take, they judge, and they move on. When a man finally sees the game isn't fair, he stops trying to prove himself. He stops explaining, stops justifying, stops fighting for approval that will never come. He shifts his focus, his time, his energy, his priorities toward things that actually matter to him, and that's when people get confused. They thought he would keep giving forever, but he won't. Everyone has limits, and once they're reached, the smartest move isn't drama or argument. It's quietly stepping away and taking control of your own life. Have you noticed how dating has turned into a numbers game? People are measured, compared, ranked, not for who they are, but for what they can show on a screen. Swipe left, swipe right, like, comment, ghost. And suddenly, connection is a performance, not a relationship. Men aren't lazy. They aren't afraid of love. They're exhausted. Exhausted by expectations that change every day. Exhausted by a culture that praises taking and punishes giving. You can be kind, responsible, successful, and it's never enough. Step back for a moment of self-respect, and you're called selfish or heartless. Women are caught in it too. Endless scrolling, endless comparisons, endless chasing the perfect match online. It feels like opportunity, but it's mostly distraction. Likes, messages, and attention are treated as indicators of worth. not actual compatibility, not real emotion. People chase validation instead of connection. And here's the reality. The more the system rewards performance over authenticity, the fewer real relationships exist. Men withdraw, not because they don't want love, but because the rules are rigged. Women wonder why men have disappeared, and men stay silent, focusing on building lives where respect and effort actually matter. We've built a culture where instant reactions are mistaken for affection, and scrolling approval is mistaken for respect. Genuine relationships, the ones that require time, trust, and emotional investment, are disappearing. The worst part? The people who actually crave real intimacy are stuck waiting for it, staring at screens that give likes instead of loyalty, attention instead of honesty, and illusions instead of actual love. We were told love is earned by performance. Be kind, be strong, be funny, make money, and hope it's enough. But now, the world measures love with swipes, likes, and filters. Real humans lost. Algorithms won. There's a new breed of man today. He's not lonely. He's self-sufficient. He doesn't chase women. He doesn't beg for approval. He doesn't argue online. He works out, he studies, he builds skills, he earns, he reads, all for himself. Not to impress, not to prove, not for applause. These men don't fight entitlement. They ignore it. They don't chase validation. They don't compete with illusions. They simply live. And by living, they've found what most people spend their lives searching for: peace, and society notices. Women see men like this and feel confusion, irritation, sometimes fear. Why? Because the old rules no longer apply. A man doesn't need attention, approval, or applause to exist. He's done negotiating his worth. He's chosen freedom over performance. The quiet ones aren't weak. They aren't lost. They aren't angry. They're untouchable, not in strength, but in independence. They don't argue. They don't justify. They don't play by anyone else's script. And that independence? That's the new power. The world expects men to fight, to compete, to prove themselves constantly. But some men have chosen a different path. They stopped arguing. They stopped seeking approval. They stopped letting society define their worth. They focus inward. He wakes up for goals, not for praise. He trains for strength, not for Instagram. He earns for freedom, not for status. He learns, builds, creates, not for anyone else, but for himself. Discipline is his faith. Self-mastery is his religion. He could be anyone: a teacher, a soldier, a mechanic. But inside, he carries something the modern world has lost: clarity, calm, control. He feels, but he doesn't let feelings dictate him. He chooses what matters and ignores the rest. He stopped looking outside for meaning. He builds discipline, skill, and freedom within society expected him to break. But he became stronger. He doesn't live for validation, for likes, for approval. He lives for clarity, for growth, for himself. Most men are performing for likes, for approval, for attention. But there's a new kind of man. He doesn't perform. He doesn't chase. He doesn't explain himself. He lives first, and everything else follows. This man fights only for what matters: his focus, his discipline, his life. He's not here to impress. He's here to be present in his own reality work: health, mind, skill, growth. And here's why women notice him. He doesn't need them. He's not trying to win affection. He's not trying to prove anything. That calm, that certainty, that independence, it's magnetic. They can't control him. They can't manipulate him. They can't bend him to social expectations. Society hates this type of man because he can't be bought with approval or swayed by criticism. While everyone else debates, he produces results. While the world scrambles for validation, he builds reality. When love comes, it's not transactional. It's not, "I need you to feel whole." No drama, no compromise from weakness, just two complete people walking side by side, choosing to elevate life together. This is the man who built himself first, the man who refuses to be anyone's option, the man who changed the rules by simply ignoring them.